Love having Sean Cruz on the show with us because he brings us more than just one trade of the day. So thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
I want to start with Snap. This stock looks like a disaster. Would you be a buyer at lower levels?
I mean, this stock's been all over the place in the past year. We saw it get up to 20, start pulling back, definitely pulling back even more after earnings. And right now, the volume in those options is overwhelmingly to the put side. And usually when you go out a little further into expirations and there's a lot of activity slightly out of the money, that usually to me indicates more of hedgers than anything more speculative. But we're seeing a lot of activity at 11 and 12 put strikes. So it looks like a lot of hedgers want to protect themselves for any sort of move below those price levels.
Below that. So hard to tell where the floor is?
And I think there's a lot of just uncertainty right now as what direction the company's going to go in. It's going to be hard to find exactly where the floor is because they're down to levels we haven't seen them at since late last summer.
Traders taking the downside in Snap. What are they doing in Apple?
Apple's interesting. We're almost seeing the opposite. Apple came out and had great earnings. We saw a lot of activity going into earnings at the 170 and 175 call strikes. Post earnings with the move higher, we're seeing at the 180, 185 strike. And one interesting thing about this, something I've been looking at this earnings season, is those companies that can break above the 50-day moving average, how the markets would handle that. Apple able to do that post earnings, so it'll be interesting to see if they can establish that 50-day moving average as a new support level.
What trade would you put on here?
Right now, if I wanted to maybe play a little bit more of a sustained upside move or maybe some consolidation above that 50-day moving average, I might look to sell some out of the money put spreads. Just in case there is a little bit of a pullback, I give myself some cushion to the downside and I can still have a profitable trade as long as Apple stays above my short put strike.
Also on your list, Gilead Sciences.
Gilead Sciences, another one, had a lot of interesting activity in there, and we recently had it pull back. They got the death cross, 50-day moving average, moving below the 200-day moving average, and we've seen a lot of put activity in there, particularly around the 70 and 65 strikes. So it looks like some investors didn't really like what they heard. We saw not only a miss on earnings, but also a drop in margins, and I think right now you don't want to see a drop in that growth for earnings right now, and I think that's going to give investors a little bit more skittishness about this stock. And so once again, we're seeing a lot of activity on the put side in there.
Sean, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Check out businessfirstam.com to find out where to see our entire show. And don't forget to like, follow, and share Business First AM.